We'll start with our client. Here we've got ICE Client 4, and I've opened a Firefox browser, and I have a link to sample malware that we can download. And we're actually going out through our Palo Alto firewall to grab this file. So we've just downloaded that test file through our Palo Alto firewall. And you can see we've got the file, but we haven't executed it. So it's a file at rest that we've downloaded. And then what we can do is go to the wildfire dashboard, and we can see basically what happens here is the firewall treats this as an unknown file. It submits it to wildfire to get checked out. You can see it was submitted, and right now the verdict is pending. And if we look at the details on that, we can get the hash values for that file. So we've got SHA-256, SHA-1, MD5. And that's how we're going to kind of track this through this demo. Give it a few minutes, it'll come back as malware in the dashboard, and you can actually look on the firewall itself and see that that file was marked as malicious. And so the wildfire process is complete. We go into Tanium, and we go into our IOC Detect module. And right now, you can look in our control wildfire group, there are no IOCs. So this is showing the integration between Tanium and Palo Alto wildfire. We've built a connector that pulls IOCs in from our Palo Alto firewall into Tanium. And this can be scheduled. I'll just kick it off to run now. You can see that it's finished running. And we can go into IOC Detect again, and we'll see that we now have under Control Wildfire an IOC. And so the next step is to detect this IOC, which is scheduled. You can force this, but you can see that the file hashes match the IOC detect in Tanium and in wildfire. So I've kicked off a detection. You can see there's a manual detection that I ran for this, and you can look and you'll see that compromises have been found. So Tanium has gone out and searched and found this file on an endpoint, and you can see we have one compromise. And if you look under compromises, you'll see who was compromised. So there's our client, ICE Client 4, that we downloaded the file on. Then we've got a hook from Tanium into Splunk, and we've got a custom dashboard built to bring in the information from Tanium for IOC Detect. And you can see now in Splunk we have an event, ICE Client 4. There are the file hashes. Again, we can match that up. So we've been tracking this file that we did not execute on the endpoint through all of these tools. And we've correlated information from ICE, so the session information for that workstation. We have that we've brought into Splunk for the same session. So we can drill down on that, and you get all the details for the session itself. And what we've done is through a Splunk ICE integration, we've built event actions. So I'm going to quarantine that IP because we know it has a bad file on it. And so we'll do that from Splunk, and that's a PX grid call to ICE, which will quarantine that endpoint. And this is all on the endpoint just with the Tanium client. And so you can see that we have a success result. If we go into ICE, we can run a report that shows these events. So if we go under reports, you can look under audit reports, adaptive network control audit, and we'll go ahead and run this for today. And you'll see that we have a quarantine. and you can see the IP address that is quarantined. And that was a success. It was called by PX Grid. So if we go back to ICE Client 4 now, we'll try to download that same file. You can see now that we have no network access. And this network access can be controlled in different ways, but it's a way to prevent lateral movement of a file that hasn't even been executed in your environment.